Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Royer, Head of Community Services at the Lucy Robbins Wells Library. And tonight we have Eric Lofkin here from the Modern Observer Group. And he is the president, the founder, and the CEO for over 20 years. And he founded this company to promote his freelance communications work, and so much more came out of all that. And I'm sure he will be sharing that with us tonight. But let me just tell you, tonight's program is Social Media Workshop, the 3 C's of social media. And if you have any questions along the way, you can feel free to ask your questions. We do have the chat available that we can use. And I've known Eric for several years as part of the Newington Chamber of Commerce. And he's always got so much to tell us and insight and what's going on and how we can do things differently. So I just would jumped on the opportunity to ask them to come help us tonight. So Eric, why don't you take it away?
All right, thank you. Bring this up. And yes, we're going to talk about using social media, and we're going to start with the basics. And we've put together what we call the 3 C's of social media. And this is a basic strategy. So we're going to start off with the strategy of what you need to do with social media. And then we'll talk a little bit about the various platforms and open it up for Q&A. So as Michelle said, I run the Modern Observer Group. We're a coaching and consulting group. We do one-to-one and group coaching, operations and process consulting for small businesses, marketing and communication consulting, including social media training and management. We run networking events. We have podcasts. We publish books, all to create an ecosystem for you to succeed. And again, the performance coaching is for executives and employees, entrepreneurs, business owners. Small business consulting we do for process and operations, marketing and communications, talent optimization, and employee engagement programs. And today we're going to talk about social media. And it starts with building your foundation. And that's where the 3 C's come in. You have to have a plan with social media. And the first C is create. And that's where we're talking about your profile. You create your profile. Now, a lot of people actually, when they create a profile, they'll put their name in and leave a lot of it blank. This is very problematic because people can't find you if you don't put information in. And the first thing you really need to do is include your profile picture. And when I say your profile picture, I mean a picture of you, so people can recognize that this is your profile. I know there's a lot of people that like to put pictures of their cats or pictures of their dogs, family photos. All of that is fine temporarily. You can change your profile picture from time to time to showcase something, but for most of the time, the picture should be of you. This way, people know this is your profile. If they meet you at a networking event and they're trying to find you, your profile comes up and it's a picture of a cat, and you haven't put in any information in your profile. It's very hard for them to figure out that it's you and how to connect to you. Now, you need to fill in as much as you are comfortable with. Now, how much information depends on which platform, but your work experience and current city are the two things most often left out of a Facebook profile. Those are major factors in how people find you. So if you want to use social media to connect with people, and that's the whole point of social media, you need to fill in as much as possible. No matter which platform you're using, all of them provide very simple forms to create your profile. The more you put in there, the easier you are to find. Now, create is just the first C. Then you've got to connect to people. You can't just put your profile up and think people are going to find you. You actively have to connect. So start with your friends, your family, your coworkers. But something that's also important is to meet people online. There are so many people that will say, oh, if somebody tries to connect to me through social media and I don't know them, I don't accept their invitation. Well, if you go to an in-person networking event and somebody comes up to you and says hello and you don't know them, are you going to tell them to go away? No, because you're on networking events for the purpose of meeting people. Well, social media is the same as a giant networking event. The difference is on social media, if you connect to somebody and it turns out they're a spammer, they're obnoxious, you can remove the connection. And they're not necessarily told about it. They might not know about it until they go to find you again. For Facebook, it's unfriend. For LinkedIn, you can remove the connection. There's nothing wrong with removing connections. So just because you're open at the beginning and allow people in doesn't mean you're stuck with them. And that's something that's very important to remember, because all of the social media platforms have algorithms that try to figure out what you want to see. So if somebody is bombarding you with messages you don't want to see, when you remove their connection, it also says to the algorithm, okay, you don't want to see information like this. So you'll see less of that in your feed. So once you've connected to people, join groups. It's another great way to meet people online. And the difference with just accepting a friend request and joining a group, groups are about specific interests. You can join a group about your local community. You can join a group about golf or baseball. You can join business groups. You can join educational groups. There are literally hundreds of thousands of groups out there, primarily on Facebook and LinkedIn. When you go to these groups, you're agreeing to obey their rules of behavior, which are usually very simple: no spamming people, you're expected to participate, not just stalk. And some of them don't want you to post commercial information in there. It's about getting to know people and getting to learn about a topic. So as long as you obey the rules of that group, participating in them is a great way to meet people with the same interests that you have, to learn about interests, and you can share posts from the group and to the group to be more active. When you're active in a group, people will find you. If they like what you're posting, that's when they will want to connect with you. Same way, follow who's in the group. If somebody's posting information that you're very interested in, connect with them, talk with them. Set up a Zoom call with a one-on-one to get to know them better. Again, social media is essentially a giant networking platform. The third C is communicate. And this is where people tend to fall down. This is not the field of dreams. Just because you build it doesn't mean they will come. You have to be active. And that means posting content. How much content? That depends on what you're doing and why you're doing it. My company does social media management, so we have to be seen as knowing what to do with social media. So we post very often, generally between 3 and 5 times a day. You don't have to post that often. You can post once a week. You can post, once every week and a half, 2 weeks. The key is actually not how much you post, but when you post. You want to post at the same time. So if you're posting every day, post something at the same time each day. If you're posting once a week, post on the same day each week. This way, people that follow you get to know, oh, there's new content coming on this day or at this time. Now, when you're sharing content, there's actually three types of content to use on social media. There's original content, there's curated content, and there's shared content. Original content is content that you are creating. This can be an article that you've written on your website, a blog post, a video that you've done. When you create something for your website or for your YouTube channel, using that same content on social media makes it more valuable to you. You're creating it once, but you're sharing it on multiple platforms. And this makes it easier for people to find, and you're getting more bang for your buck by using content over and over again. Creating content is generally where people start going, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Over the evolution of social media, people have realized the content you are creating for social media doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, if you're doing video, more people tend to watch videos that's just a person talking into the camera on their phone or on their desktop than a professionally produced video. So you don't have to spend time making it professional. I do recommend that you check with your spell check if you're posting an article, and don't rely on autocorrect to make your articles and posts look good. Autocorrect is the enemy of looking good because it will put things in there that you never intended. And as most people will tell you, they've never intended to spell out the word ducking. Autocorrect has to be watched. So yes, when you're posting content, if it's text, read it over before you hit post. Okay, so that's original content. There's curated content. Curated content is content that you are pulling from somewhere else. It can be an article in a magazine, a newsletter that came to you, something that somebody emailed to you. You're basically putting a link in to whatever that curated content is. Again, this is content that you think people who are following you might find of interest, but you're not creating it. When we post, we tend to post 2 to 3 curated articles a day. These are things that we are sent in email newsletters that we go, oh, our audience would find this information useful. And there's no context to it. We're not commenting on the article. It's just the headline of the article, the link to the article. That's it. Makes it very easy when you see something that you go, hey, that's really interesting. Let me share that. Hey, that's really funny. Let me share that. And that's something else. Both original and curated content, let your personality show. Post things that are humorous if you like that sort of thing. It doesn't just have to be about your business, just have to be about where you're going. You can post a joke, a cartoon, a funny meme on your personal or your professional page. Have a personality. Now, the final type of content is shared content. This is content that comes up in your feed, things your friends have posted, things that are posted in groups where you don't necessarily even have to comment on it. You just hit the share button and say, yo, this way your audience can share it with you. This is how things go viral. Viral videos are always shared content, except for the original person that posted it. When you share things, they get seen more. When you like things, they get seen more, not just by you. If you're liking something in a group, if you're liking something a friend posted, more of the people that they are connected with will see that post, because the social media algorithms go, oh, people like that. Well, let's show it to more people. Finally, when you're communicating with people and you're using content, use hashtags. Hashtags are how content is found. It's how the algorithms find it. It's how, if somebody's searching for something, the hashtags are how they find it. As soon as you put hashtags into your post, it makes it easier for people to see it. It will show up more often. So that's the strategy of the 3 C's. It's create, connect, communicate. And that's the basic building blocks for how you create your presence, whether personal or professional, on social media. So then you have to look at which platform. What am I doing? What, I don't have the time to go to every platform. You don't have to. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the platforms. Now, of course, you should be familiar with at least the first 5 in this list, if not all 6. Facebook. When should you be on Facebook and what should you do with it? Facebook is meant for people. People share personal content on Facebook. In fact, the largest group of people on Facebook is actually grandparents, because it's a great way to see pictures of the grandkids. If you are a business owner, if you have a B2C business, if you are selling to consumers, you should be on Facebook, because that's where consumers are. Aside from being a social media platform, Facebook is actually also one of the top 4 search engines. When people ask questions, they go to Facebook. If you're already on the platform, you've probably seen it in your Facebook feed. A friend of yours could post, looking for recommendations. Does anybody know? And they'll put what they need in. If you're going to be on Facebook and do business on Facebook, you need to create a Facebook business page. So you need to have both a personal profile and a business page. What's the difference? Personal profiles are not searchable outside of Facebook. You can search for a personal profile on Facebook, but business pages are searchable by Google, by Yahoo, by Bing, by all of the search engines. So you want to have a Facebook business page. Now, there's a lot of business folks that say, well, if I have a Facebook business page, do I still need my own website? Yes, you do, because Facebook controls the use of the business page. And here's what most people don't know. When you post something on your business page, unless you're getting a lot of people to like and share it with you, only about 5% of the people who are following your business will see that content. Why? Because Facebook wants you to pay for advertising. They will always tell you, oh, you can boost this content. Using Facebook Boost is basically like a shotgun. You're not hitting your target market. For a business person, a boost is usually not the way to go. If you want to use Facebook advertising, that can be very effective. We're not going to get into the advertising projects in this presentation because that's a whole other thing we could spend hours on. But that's the basics of Facebook. So Facebook is where you connect with friends, where you connect with family. If you're doing business there, you connect with consumers there. And it is, Facebook was once described as the world's largest trade show. The trick is using the 3 C's for your business page as well as your personal page to attract a following. This way people can find you. And let's face it, if they can't find you, they're not going to buy from you. So let's move on to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about business. It's business groups. It's business to business. If you are selling to other businesses, you want to be on LinkedIn. If you are looking for a job, you want to be on LinkedIn. The biggest mistake people make with LinkedIn is thinking it's just a place to post your profile like a resume. Goes back to the 3 C's. Yes, you have to create that profile. And like Facebook, you can have a personal profile on LinkedIn and you can have a business page on LinkedIn. You have to communicate on both of those. Post interesting information. If you're doing videos, presentations, you can post those on your LinkedIn page. LinkedIn is all about business. That is its focus. So if you are trying to connect with businesses, you need to be on LinkedIn. And of course, there's more to LinkedIn than just that. They also have subscription areas that you can get learning videos on. So it's a great place to learn new skills. Now, that's not part of the basic free that you get with your profile and your business page, but you can participate in groups on the free program. You can create your business page and your personal profile on your free program. You can contact other people on the free program. For about 90% of the people that are using LinkedIn, you don't need one of their paid services. The free service works fine. But again, the target on LinkedIn is business. Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook. And unlike Facebook and LinkedIn, it's all about photographs. On Facebook and LinkedIn, there's a hierarchy. If you post video, that will be seen by the most people. Below video is photographs and images. Below that is text. On Instagram, it's all photos and video. Even if you're posting text, you have to post it as an image. The audience on Instagram tends to skew younger. Not necessarily children, but certainly there's, 18 to 35 on there. If that's the audience you want to connect with, it's a great place to be. For a long time, businesses did not use Instagram, thinking it was too personal. They have found that Instagram is a great place to create a personality for your business. You can post humorous videos, post ads for products. You can sell through Instagram and Facebook now. In fact, there are retailers that will do live shows on Facebook and Instagram to sell merchandise. And it's a great way to do it. The key to being found on Instagram is the hashtag. You need to put hashtags on virtually every post you make. It's literally the difference between nobody finding your post and a couple dozen people finding your post at minimum. Instagram is also where you can get more creative. They have the filters for photographs. They have the short videos. If you're out and about, do a quick video, pick up your phone and go, hey, everybody, I'm here at such and such a place. We're having a great time here. Come on, come down and join us. If you're going to a restaurant, talk about the food. If you're attending a networking meeting or a business event, tell them these are the folks you're meeting with. Those things go a long way to creating a personality for both you and your business. And you can do this as separate accounts. You can create a personal account with your name. I have an Instagram account at Eric Lopkin. I also have a business Instagram account at Modern Observer. I cross-post a lot of things. Certain things I only post on the business account. Certain things I only post on the personal account. When you have a business account, you tell Instagram this is a professional account. When you do that, Instagram actually gives you more tools so you can track who's seeing what you're posting, gives you better analytics so you know what's working and what's not. So Instagram originally was just for photos. Now it's become a real business tool, and it actually is an excellent one. Twitter. We've all heard about Twitter. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last several months, you know Elon Musk is buying Twitter right now. I'm not going to mince words. Right now, Twitter's a dumpster fire. There are questions as to how many accounts on Twitter are actually real people. And there are some estimates that up to 90% of the accounts on Twitter may actually be fake. What I advise people to do with Twitter is create a Twitter account, fill out the profile so you have a full profile, and connect it to your other social media so that when you're posting on Instagram, you can cross-post to Twitter. When you're posting on Facebook, you can cross-post to Twitter. I believe you can cross-post on LinkedIn as well. This way, you're creating a profile on Twitter. You have what's going on and you can get notifications because Twitter is mostly used by people that want to reach out to you. They're not necessarily following you. Twitter's where they go to complain if you sold them something they didn't like, if they're not happy with customer service. So you need to monitor Twitter. But it's not worth the time to really be active. Cross-post. Use automated tools for Twitter so that when you're creating a blog post, it'll go out on Twitter. But honestly, right now, Twitter is not worth paying too much attention to other than getting notifications if somebody mentions you. We will be revisiting this once Elon Musk buys it and does whatever he's going to do. Hopefully, he'll fix the problems. I can't read his mind, so I don't know what and when he's going to do things, but we will revisit Twitter once he does. For now, for the biggest bang for your buck, it's Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. But those aren't the only ones. There's Pinterest. Pinterest is important to you if your audience is women 35 to 60. If that's the demographic that your business is looking for, you need to be on Pinterest because that's where they are. If you are looking for crafters, they're on Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is closer to Instagram than it is the other social media platforms. It's all about posting photos. But most of the photos that you're posting are not simply photos, they're links back to where you got the photo. So while you're searching the internet, if you find something of interest that you think people that follow you would be interested in, you post that on Pinterest. Pinterest is almost completely shared content. You can share original content from other social media platforms, from your website or your blog, but Pinterest is all about shared content. And finally, a quick mention of Alignable. And the only reason I actually include Alignable on this list is because people ask about it constantly. Alignable is a much smaller social media platform. It has more in common with LinkedIn than any of the others. It's meant for business. It is great for building up your SEO for your website. And for those of you who are not familiar with that term, that's search engine optimization. You can post things on Alignable that link back to your website, help more people find you. Are you going to get a ton of sales from Alignable? Probably not. Are you going to make a ton of connections on Alignable? Probably not. Alignable is a second tier social media platform. If you're getting all you can get from the top tier ones, yes, move on to the second tier and see what's there. There's also a load of what I would consider third tier social media platforms now. Parler, Gather, MeWe, Truth Social. Most of those are very heavily into politics. If you're not into politics, you're probably not going to find a lot of use out of them. Doing social media properly takes time. So I recommend picking one of the top tier platforms and spending the time on one. When you've mastered that one, then add a second. When you've mastered those two, add a third. There's also a lot of tools you can use to cross post, things like Hootsuite, Buffer, Social Pilot. These are pieces of software that you need to subscribe to. You connect all of your social media to it so you can cross promote in one place without going to every platform. They're meant for businesses, not for personal use, though a lot of them do have free accounts that you can just use for your personal profiles. You cannot post to a lot of places, though. Facebook does not allow these tools to post to personal profiles, only to business pages. You can also only post to groups where you are a moderator. If you're just a participant and it's not your group, these tools will not allow you to post there. You have to go on the social media platform in order to post to those. All right, so I have thrown a lot of information at you. So let's open it up to Q&A. And we'll do this very conversationally. If you want to just jump off of mute, and let's do this as a conversation.
Eric, we did have a question. You were talking about hashtags and SEOs, and
Yes.
is hashtag not being used as much, or SEOs newer, better, in your opinion?
SEO and hashtags are actually basically the same thing for
Okay.
different audiences. SEO is for your website. Hashtags are for social media posts. So that's the difference between SEO and hashtags. Hashtags are part of an SEO program. SEO also encompasses a lot more. It's optimizing your website pages both technically and with content for what people are searching for. It's putting content in specific formats so that the search engines can find it easier. SEO is a much bigger topic. Hashtags is part of it.
So
Thank you.
actually, I asked that question and that's not what I was asking.
Okay.
What I was asking, what I was asking is actually, so Instagram has been moving away from hashtags more. And like there have been posts that have 0 hashtags, but they're getting seen because of how Insta has like started moving over to more keywords and stuff like that. So like, do you have any like advice on how to optimize your Insta better, so people can find you with or without hashtags?
Instagram's algorithm still relies very heavily on hashtags. So I recommend still using it. Now, Instagram puts a limit. You can only put 50 hashtags per post. Honestly, you don't want to put more than that. Realistically, you shouldn't even be putting that many in. When you put in that many hashtags in, you're basically using a scattershot method, like a shotgun. You want to target who you want to see your post and use the keywords in your paragraph, in your description, that they're going to be searching for. The best way to optimize for both is write up a paragraph that's optimized for the people looking for it. And that's really the key. You know, there's no big trick to finding how to get noticed. It's putting the information in your post that people are looking for. Now, there are websites, if you just go to Google and put, best hashtags, there are websites that will generate hashtags for you. You can use some of these as keywords. When you put it in a paragraph as a keyword, just put the hashtag symbol in front of it. This way it's both. But right now, Instagram is still very heavily relying on the hashtags. You want to optimize your description also, but you don't want to abandon the hashtags yet.
Thank you for clarifying the question. I hope that was an answer that works for you. If not, feel free to follow up with another question. Anybody else have any questions tonight?
Hey, Eric, you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, on your Elon Musk thing, I don't Twitter has not been bought yet. I think he's gonna back out on that because of the price. And like you said, a lot of the people on Twitter is like they call them bots or something like that.
Yes.
And he tweeted a lot over the weekend about that, and I think he's going to just basically take the $1 billion deal that they signed up. If he backs out, $1 billion. So I don't think Elon Musk will be.
I actually don't think he's backing out. I think he's using that information to get a better price. I think he still wants to take over Twitter and change it to a platform for free speech, but he's not willing to pay that much money if it turns out the data that he was given is fake.
Okay. We'll see on that.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see. Honestly, if Elon Musk does back out because it turns out Twitter has that many fake accounts, I don't think Twitter will survive, because you're going to see a mass exodus. If you're not talking to real people, why be there?
Okay, that's good.
We have another question about LinkedIn in the chat. Do you want to ask your question out loud? That would be great.
Sorry, I was doing like 80 things at once.
That's okay.
My question about LinkedIn is, how often should you be posting? Like, I know like with Insta, there's like, you know, specific days and times based on your audience, but like, what about LinkedIn? Is there an optimal time, day, or is it just kind of like whenever?
There's always an optimal time. It depends on what you're posting. You can actually go to Google and search for optimal time to post on, on LinkedIn, because the optimal, I don't want to give you a specific time, because honestly, the optimal time changes. And when you do post, you want people to know you're posting. That's why I said earlier that you need to pick a time and post regularly at that time, because you want your followers to know this is when you're posting. The optimal time depends on who you're posting to, depends on where you're posting, if it's your personal account, your business page, a group. And it really depends, it varies person to person. Even on Instagram, when they tell you, oh, this is the best time to post, if you check 6 weeks later, there'll be a different best time to post. And honestly, a lot of it is trial and error. Do some A/B testing. Post at various times, and post the same thing at various times on different days, and see when you get a better response. All right, I see Latrice has her hand up.
Eric, what about TikTok? And the reason I asked that is because I'm not on. I really feel like TikTok is an entertainment platform from my perspective. But I had posted a few videos on Facebook regarding, just videos about my business or talking about a particular subject. And I had people say, well, you should get on TikTok. And I really feel like I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions about TikTok. If you're doing it for personal, TikTok is a great source of entertainment. People find these viral videos that they're amused by. Businesses are starting to see some return from TikTok. TikTok is basically where Instagram used to be. It's a very young audience. It's a very entertainment-minded audience. You do have to be very careful with TikTok, though, on what you post, because TikTok is a Chinese company. Chinese companies are required by Chinese law to hand your information over to the Chinese government. This is how this is how bots start attacking. This is how spam gets out. So you do need to be very careful about the information you're giving to TikTok. Is it effective for business? The jury's still out, honestly. It's too early to say yes or no. I think eventually businesses will figure out good ways to do it. It is a great place to post a humorous video or humorous commercial promotional type thing. But honestly, at this point, I think TikTok is best used in conjunction. If you're doing a TikTok video, post it on Instagram, post it on Facebook. Use TikTok as just an extra.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much, Eric. This was great amount of information. I took lots of notes. I'm sure there'll be questions. If anybody, if Eric, if you want to put your information in the chat, if anybody has a follow-up question, they can do that. I'm happy to, if you contact me, I can, forward questions that way too. We appreciate you coming tonight. Hopefully, we're gonna have some nice weather coming up, and everybody enjoy your evening. We'll go one more, 1, 2, 3. Does anybody have any questions? All right, good night. Thank you so much, Eric.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.